Welcome, everybody. We're so glad that you joined us tonight, and we're excited to learn about these beautiful ladies and their journeys with their kids. So our mission statement: Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and evidence for the afterlife in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and allow for open dialogue. Attendance today at the Helping Parents Heal meeting is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose child has passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. However, these Zoom meetings are very healing to parents all over the world, and they are all posted on YouTube so that affiliate members who are not in our time zone can also watch. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to be informed about many possible ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. So welcome, everybody, and I'm going to pass it on to Mark.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and thank you for all you do. Thank you to the parents, the affiliate leaders this evening who are going to be sharing with us. So those who are watching, you've heard of shining light parents, no doubt. The definition is parents who move from primarily identifying with lower energy emotions, pain, sadness, anger, guilt, blame, etc., to higher ones. Now, by saying lower, by the way, I'm not being critical, I'm not being judgmental. It's just the way they test. They've been tested by people like David Hawkins, MD, PhD, who wrote the book Power versus Force. So over time, then, these shining light parents have gone through the dark night of the soul, which you may be in yourself right now, and found then real joy, peace, love, found blessings to what happened, which seems counterintuitive for a human. Blessings to a child passing, what? Find the silver linings. There was a group, and there are some groups, that's what they focus on, HPH groups, silver lining list, and create them. So these parents then, and you're going to hear from 5 of them tonight, become so powerful, and they provide so much help to individuals, but also to our world. And just a quick side note, you may have heard about people who have had near-death experiences where they were clinically dead, but then were revived and came back to tell about it. They were embraced by the light. Well, oftentimes these NDEers, they're called, were transformed. Alcoholics became sober, and wife beaters became very loving, and etc. And it's such a rapid and profound transformation. Well, I see that same thing happening in parents who, if they can go through that rough spot and do what we've just described, can be a major force for change, again, with others, and to make our world a better place. So I am truly honored. People ask why I do this work so much. Well, one of the reasons is that I am so inspired by what I learn. I get as much out of this as anybody, because my motto is that only more evolved souls and those who are willing to grow and learn, those who have so much love to go through a journey like this, sign up for that possibility. And so I truly applaud each one of you, attendees and interviewees alike. So with that in mind, I recommend that you listen closely to what they say. Watch these videos at least twice. Take notes, because they're going to share nuggets of wisdom, practical things that you can do to help your journey and get to that Shining Light Parent Point. Now, you can learn more about Shining Light Parents, the journey to there, by looking at article number 82 I wrote at soulproof.com. And you can learn more in general if by article number 2, which is called When a Child Changes Worlds. Now, just a couple resources. If you want to find a local group near you, visit the helpingparentsheal.org website. And then at the top, click on the tab that says Affiliate Leaders, and then choose your state and see if there's one near you. If not, consider starting one. To find caring listeners, go to helpingparentsheal.org, and then same thing, top tab, caring listeners. Caring listeners are a group of about 35 really amazing Shining Light parents who offer at no charge to, as the name says, listen, provide what worked for them. They're not counselors, they don't give you professional counseling, but they share their journey, listen to yours, provide some suggestions, steer you towards some resources. They're there to help, and we have ones that speak different languages around the world, different time zones. So what a resource. And then finally, to watch the YouTube video. Usually Elizabeth Boisson hosts these by the end of the next day. And to look at the other interviews we've done, visit helpingparentsheal.org/YouTube videos/affiliate leader and caring listener videos. So with all that, we have our first affiliate leader with us, Maggie. And Maggie, thank you. Please tell us about Mitchell's life and passing.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm Maggie Spalding, and my son's name was Mitchell Andrew Spalding, and everybody called him Mitch. And Mitch was 27 years old when he transitioned and he had an accidental overdose of opioids. But he was, I like to talk more about him versus the story around his addiction. He was such a loving and friendly and personable person. He would help anybody that needed help. He had such a beautiful smile. In fact, everybody that had met him would always comment about what a beautiful smile he had. He loved the outdoors. He was an avid camper, backpacker. We have a boat, and he loved driving the boat and water skiing, as well as snow skiing. So, that was, when it was the weekend, Memorial Day weekend of 2015, when we had getting ready to go to a family vacation, that we got the call from my brother, where my son was living in Chicago. And we got the call from my brother that Mitch had passed. And so that was a very devastating event for us. But, he was a college graduate. And, there's a lot of questions at the beginning of my healing journey about why Mitch had to die. Why didn't I see the signs? He was a closet addict. So he was very closed about that to me, as well as his brother. So there was always something at the very beginning that I was very, trying to understand that. But as I learned through my healing of my grief and allowing myself to open to seeing a different perspective, I realized that it wasn't about the disease or the addiction. It was about me being able to see him in a different way and to find a silver lining in this particular event that had catapulted me on an inspired quest to find more meaning in my life and to find to be able to help other people to learn to heal their grief.
Excellent, excellent. So how did you first discover helping parents heal, Maggie, and how did they help you initially?
Well, initially, I was being guided to do many different things, and I didn't know anything about spirit guides or my spirit team, but I have this internal desire to learn more about the afterlife, and I never really believed in life after death. So but I had such an extreme desire to learn about life after death and about the afterworld and the spiritual realm, and I really wanted a connection with my son. I wasn't ready to give up on that relationship. So I was being guided to read these different books. The first book I read was Proof of Heaven by Dr. Mark Alexander, or Eben Alexander. And then somewhere in these books that I was reading, Suzanne Giesman's book, Messages of Hope, came up, and I was very inspired by her message. I felt like, oh my goodness, her message was very much similar to me. And so that's how I found Helping Parents Heal, was her. It was actually reading her book, and she is definitely a member of Helping Parents Heal, as well as, a spiritual team. So that's how I found Helping Parents Heal.
Okay. So what motivated you to start a group, and what do you consider to be the strengths of yours?
So I actually attended the first Helping Parents Heal conference. And I remember sitting at the table and talking to someone I didn't know. And I found out that she was an affiliate leader. And I was like, well, what is an affiliate leader? What do you do? And so she was talking with me and told me, and it's like, I think I can do this. I feel like I'm at a place in my healing journey that I'm ready to give back. I'm ready to help others know that you can heal your grief. You are able to find peace and joy and love if you do the hard, necessary work of confronting your emotions and learning how to navigate through them, and to be able to heal them. And so she inspired me to become an affiliate leader. I talked with Irene. I found out that there was no one in the state of Tennessee. So I started the chapter, and I'm still no one there. I'm the only one in the state of Tennessee. And so that's 5 years ago I've been doing this. And I started out with a in-person group, and of course when COVID came, I switched to online, and I have now continued my online group because I have so many people in the state of Tennessee that are close, that I still continue to do the meetings once a month, first Wednesday of the month. I also have other people from other states, so I'm letting you know that for those who would like to join my group, my online group, just look on the website, on the main website, and you'll be able to contact me and to know when the groups meet.
Excellent. Thank you. What have you learned that you can pass on to other parents about how you've learned how to sense Mitchell's presence?
Well, one of the things that I like to tell and advise people is that you have to be able to heal your grief, and that's the tough part. You have to be able to do the necessary work to confront your emotions, to be able to feel your emotions and let them go. But you have to be in this meditative state. So meditation is very important in learning to heal your grief. Time alone will not heal your grief. Time will subside the pain, take the sting out of it, but eventually the emotions will start coming back. So you must confront your emotions, you must deal with it, and you must know that, in order to feel your child's presence, you have to heal the pain first, and then you'll be able to sense and start seeing the signs and start believing that and looking at life in a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. What are some ways that Mitchell has come through to you?
Well, it's interesting because I remember the first time I had this, I didn't realize it was a sign, but then I started realize it. It was the middle of February. I was working in a downtown office in Nashville, and I was sitting at my computer, and I got up to go to the ladies' room to get dressed. I was working out, and as I was undressing, I was getting out my gym shoes, and there was a ladybug in my gym shoe. And I was like, where'd this ladybug come from? How did it get in my gym shoe? So I was like, okay. And then I went back to my desk, and there was another ladybug on my computer keyboard. And it just started I was like so shocked at this first sign. I was like, oh my God. I started looking at, understanding what the ladybug was. And the next thing he started showing me were pennies. And I would find pennies in the most unorthodox way. Again, I was at work. I was getting ready to do a conference call in this huge conference room. I go in there first to set up my computer, and I get ready to dial the phone, and there was a penny right by the phone on this conference, in the conference room. So there are so many different signs that I've received, but those are the ones that were at the beginning that were very profound and outstanding to me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those. So what are 3 things that you've learned that you'd like to share with other parents through your journey?
I would say the first thing is that it is possible. It is very possible to find love and peace and happiness and joy. And I know whatever stage you're at in the grieving process, if somebody told me that at the beginning, and by going, well, I don't know how to do that. And all I'm going to say is that you stay with the grief, understand your grief, don't run away from it, don't suppress it. To be able to learn to meditate, that is a huge tool to help you to be able to confront your emotions, and so you can become into this elevated mindfulness area to go ahead and heal your grief. But it's going to take work, and you have to make the intentions. And I would say the other thing is that I think you have to let go a lot of old beliefs and perceptions about life in order to change your viewpoint, and to understand that you can't go in the past, that you can make sure that there's a brighter and happier future by the thoughts that you think and by the actions that you take with the intentions that you want to heal.
Excellent. Now this last one's personal, but what are your beliefs about there being a meaning and a timing behind something even so seemingly senseless as a child's passing?
That's something I think every parent always ponders, why did this happen? And usually you don't understand things at the beginning because your mindset and your perspective is not elevated enough, and you haven't gone through the healing process. But I would have to say that I truly believe now that Mitch's death was my trigger event to have a spiritual awakening. So I'm getting a little emotion here because I think back of how I was such a different person back then, and compared to now, I'm so much more kinder and more compassionate. And I feel like my mission, all these things that I have started because of his passing, being an affiliate leader for Helping Parents Heal. I'm a yoga teacher now, helping and healing yoga. I'm an advanced grief recovery specialist, a grief coach. So all these things have come from his event. And I'm able to help people, parents like you and me, to get through this, to know that there can be happiness and love on the other side of grief.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Maggie. So well put. And by the way, and while we're getting Deb up, so she mentioned the passing of Mitchell as a trigger. And that's exactly the word that's used for having what's called a spiritually transformative experience, or STE for short. So it can be anything really when a person is ready to wake up from spiritual amnesia and remember their eternal soul, and so your kids, and remember the big picture of life. So if you want to learn more about spiritually transformative experiences, you can see article number 17 at soulproof.com. Thank you again, dear.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, so I wanted to show everybody here that I have written a book. It's called Melodies of Grief, Written in the Key of Love. Suzanne Giesman was the forward of my book. It is on the Helping Parents Heal resources, and it does talk about my story, my spiritual awakening, as well as the gifts that I have found in grief. And one of them was automatic writing and poetry. And so I just wanted to share that with others, and I'd be very appreciative if anybody wanted to contact me. I have a website, or if you wanted to come to one of my meetings. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And Deb, you are up, please.
Hello, how are you this evening?
And tell us about your dean, please, his life and passing.
Dean is my oldest son. I have two sons, one who is still Earthside with us. Dean was 24 when he transitioned by suicide in 2020. He was on the autism spectrum, and so he struggled with anxiety and just social things, but he was very high functioning, and actually went to a Montessori school that was very small, and he had great friends there, and people loved him there. A very kind person, loved animals, brilliant, funny, wonderful young man. And he even he moderated for a video gaming streamer online, and she held a fundraiser after his transition, and 6,000 people showed up, and
wow,
everybody talked about just how funny and kind and brilliant he was. And so that was just a wonderful affirmation of just what a beautiful soul he was. But yeah, life just got a little too hard for him in 2020. That was a hard year for all of us, I think.
You're exactly right about life being too hard. And I would say we're in our 6th week of interviews. Probably about 40% of children who have passed have been by suicide or accidental overdose. And one of the many things I love about helping parents heal is there's no judgment. We're here for kids of any age who pass by any way. And my working model, and I've been looking at all this for 50 years since I worked in hospitals and worked on little kids and saw their parents, phases after the kids pass, is that many of these kids are highly evolved souls, but they come to Earth and there's so much density and cruelty and difficulty here that it's just so much. And so they try to numb out, they try to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. And of course, it's a slippery slope and a thin line. And then sometimes they just make the decision, I can't take it anymore. It's time to push the reset button, go back to home base, and go from there. So I just want to share that for all of you. So how did you learn about helping parents heal, and what services of theirs helped you initially?
Lisa Hudson had mentioned y'all to me, as well as Paige Lee, who is, one of your affiliate leaders. And I went to one of her retreats and so learned more about helping parents heal. And then, of course, I, just like Maggie, I started following and appreciating Suzanne Giesman, and saw just how much she gave to, and how much she appreciated it. And when I started listening to the videos and reading the books, I could not do anything other than read and listen to podcasts and do videos. I didn't watch TV for a year. I just only, with all my free time, just gobbled up your books, Suzanne Giesman's, just dozens and dozens and dozens of books. And again, those were the kinds of resources that I was able to look on the Helping Parents Heal page, the website page, and see all these wonderful resources that I could start out with.
Excellent. And then what motivated you to start serving others? And tell us about your group, please.
I am a co-affiliate leader with two other wonderful ladies here in Houston. And the reason I wanted to help is that I had attended a couple of the Houston affiliate meetings, but in doing the retreats that I have done, I've been a leader in, I retired from 30 years at NASA and was a leader there. And so I had kind of an ability to get up in front of people and talk and not be afraid to help guide people. So I was just so profoundly impacted by the love and the honesty and the resources that Helping Parents Heal provides, that I wanted to help. And so if I could even help one other parent cross that threshold that you wonder, can I ever be happy again? Right. And I've gotten there. I've seen the other side. And so if I could help one other parent, then I wanted to do it. And so I felt like being a co-affiliate lead with Pam and Mary, we could maybe offer more opportunities here in Houston. Houston is either the second or the third largest city in the country. They change places with Chicago, and sometimes we're bigger, sometimes Chicago's bigger, and yet the number of people from just our local area is pretty small. So I want to try to spread that out, make it more known in our community.
Excellent. And so what are some ways that you've learned that you can optimally sense Dean?
Dean is a tremendous communicator. And I mean, within 8 hours of his transition, he was sending us just jaw-dropping signs. Wow. And so I'm 100% with all the people who say, yeah, meditate and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm not a big meditator. I actually took Suzanne Giesman's personal class, and I actually meditated every single night for about a year and a half. And I still try to most nights, but where I really feel him is in recognizing his signs, thanking him, writing them down, and then they just keep coming. I mean, it's just incredible. And I've actually gotten to the point now where just for Thanksgiving Day, he's not just showing up like the picture that you see over my shoulder here. I was out in the backyard of my mother-in-law's overlooking the Pacific, and this hummingbird was flying around and the sun was setting and it was beautiful. And I said, Dean, it would be really nice if you could help me out here and let me take a picture of that hummingbird in front of the sunset. The little hummingbird landed on top of a bush, right lined up with the sun, and sat there for 10 minutes as the sun set. And I mean, and that's the kind of thing that he's really responsive. And so I believe it. Again, it's, I've mentioned Paige Lee. I mean, her book, Choose to Believe, that really resonated with me. It's a choice, and it takes time to get there. But I know he's here. And so I recognize it, and I ask him for signs, and he shows up with them. But Thanksgiving Day, he actually dropped in a couple of little phrase. I was working on something, and he said, why don't you try this, Mom? And I'm like, where did that come from? And I tried it, and it worked. So it's wonderful.
Beautiful. What are 3 things you've learned, Deb, excuse me, that you'd like to share with other parents?
I think probably the hardest thing for me, especially having a child who transitioned by suicide, is the guilt and the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And so the big thing for me is just give yourself a break, right? I had a phrase a day, a calendar, and it says, I forgive myself for not being perfect. I am living the very best way I know how. And that really helped me. I also want to make sure that people recognize that they're making a difference. Just showing up, just getting out of bed, or maybe not even getting out of bed that day, right? Showing up for yourself, showing up for your child. It makes a difference. You make a difference because you're being here as witness to what happened, and then that child's life will make a difference in other people's lives as well. So those, like I said, those are the kind of the two big things for me that other folks haven't mentioned, I think.
Very powerful. And what is your belief about there being a meaning and a timing behind his transition?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've done past life regressions. Of course, read your books, read the Soul's Plan. Those books were very powerful for me by recognizing and having Dean reassure me in medium readings that, oh yeah, no, this we made this deal here. Again, I was very spiritual in the 80s when I was in my 20s, and then we moved to Houston. I started working for NASA, had kids, and got kind of caught up in this material world, right? And I still, was a good person, but got caught up in it. And this wake-up call that I received and our family received with Dean's transition has reminded me of why I'm here, and that's to model love and to be someone who is one who allows others to be whoever they are. Dean liked to say, "You do you," right? And to kind of drop that judgment. So I 100% believe that these primary major events in our lives are planned, and we have free will, and we can take circuitous paths. But knowing that we agreed to this, I would agree to something like this because it really stinks sometimes, but right, and especially at first, it's really rotten. But yeah, it gives meaning.
And to everyone watching this, I suggest that you rewind about a minute or two when I initially asked you this question. What's your belief about there being a timing and meaning? And look at her face. She's just like 100%. Boom. Just the beyond words, your body language, your knowing came through so strongly. Thank you very much, Deb. Way to be strong.
Thank you.
Patricia, you are up next, please, dear.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. And thank you for being here, and tell us about your dear Melissa, please, her life and passing.
My Melissa, her name is Melissa Joan, and Melissa means honeybee. And Joan is definitely a source of strength. That was my mother's name. And I think of Saint Joan also, just being strong-willed. And she was just such a force of nature. But she, in May 9th of 2016, it was the day after Mother's Day. That weekend, I had helped her clean out her dorm room. She was just finished her freshman year. And we have a house that was nearby. I was in Massachusetts, and our house is in Vermont. We drove home from Vermont that day after Mother's Day. We had spent a beautiful Mother's Day together. My husband and son were both with us. They left to come home back to Long Island. Her and I went out to dinner. We went for a walk together that day. We went to the movies. We've seen the Jungle Book movie. We had a great day. That night, we actually slept in the same bed together. My husband had left, and she slept with me because it's kind of isolated up there. And every little noise, we'd be like, "What's that?" We drove home that day after Mother's Day, laughing, singing, playing Blake Shelton, Your Lips Taste Like Sangria. The whole way home, we were singing and laughing. And when we got home, she went to go out in the back door, and we had our two dogs. And I said, "I want to go to the front and get the mail. I'll let you in." And when I opened my back door, she was laying there on my back deck. and she was barely breathing. She was gasping for air, and her eyes were, she wasn't there. She was there, but not there. And I tried to revive her. And I called 911 and I did everything. And I knew she passed. Like, I knew it. Just, I don't know what happened, but it was from the autopsy. It was her mitral valve. It was very enlarged, and it was her heart. Melissa had a big heart. So I know that her time here, she was such a special person. She was a lifeguard at the pool. I mean, she got checked for her heart every year since she was a baby. It was just a classic mitral valve, but whatever happened, she just passed that suddenly. It was just, she was 18 years old. Wow. But she was like the mayor of our town. Everyone knew her. She worked at the rec center also. She taught kids how to dance. Not that she was the greatest dancer, but she taught young kids, like, 3 to 8 years old, how to dance. And she taught art. She was an artist. She went to the Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts, and she was an arts management major. She was just a shining light. This kid was, from the time she was small, just wanted to hug you. She,
what a excuse me, what a beautiful description of an evolved soul. And that's why the Q&A I wrote, right, for the Helping Parents Heal newsletter is called Evolved Souls Don't Need Long Earthly Lives. Also, kudos for using the term, she was a shining light. And that's one of the reasons why parents, it's wise to become a shining light themselves, so they're on that same wavelength. Beautiful way to share that.
Favorite song was This Little Light of Mine. She used to sing it all the time when she was a kid. That's why it's like just so crazy.
Yeah, she gave herself away.
Yes.
She's a special one. So how did you discover Helping Parents Heal, and how they help you initially?
Helping Parents Heal, I believe, just showed up like, the week of her passing. I was at the library. I was pulling books off the shelves, near-death experience. I read everything because I had always felt that I was always around. I could never, when people would talk about, before you were born, and I would be like, how was I never here? Like, I just always felt like I was here. So I believe things just popped up for me. I believe Helping Parents Heal, I must have searched and it came up, and it's been a godsend. It really was. It's such a wonderful organization. I went to the first conference, and they it changed me and my husband. My husband was one of these guys. He actually does the meetings with me. He used to be one of these guys who were like, when you're dead, you're dead. Well, he's no longer that way anymore. He's a total believer. There's no doubt about it. But their resources, I started going to the meetings in Manhattan. Sherry Pearl had meetings, so we had trek there from Long Island. We jumped on the Long Island Railroad, and they were life-changing. And the conference itself was just totally amazing. And the online resources also. They directed you to other things, which, I like the woman before me said, I didn't watch regular TV. I just kept.
So how did you know it was time for you
sponge. I was a sponge.
Good. So how did you know it's time for you to serve others? And tell us about your group, please.
Well, the signs my daughter started giving me were incredible. They just were so off the chart, like right away. And I knew that they were helping me, and I knew they were real. Like, I knew that if parents could realize that these signs were there, I had to tell them about them, because people, I do believe, just stay in their grief, and that's not a good place to be. I really missed my old self. I find it very healing, even for myself, to go to the meetings. Even though I'm the leader, I like everybody to, they heal me too. We all heal each other, and I just, that's why I wanted to do it. I went to the conference. I knew before I went to the conference, I talked to Irene. There wasn't one on Long Island. I wish there were some more. I keep saying to the people that come to my meetings, any of you could start your own meeting. Don't think that it's not a problem, because the more that people can go to these meetings, the more it'll benefit them and help them heal.
Sure, it's spreading. So what have you learned over the years about how you can best sense Melissa's living presence?
I sense Melissa. I know that in my waking, sometimes when I'm just falling asleep, this was in the beginning, but now more so when I'm first waking up, like Melissa comes to me. Like I see her spiritually. She's still very funny. She was very quick-witted, hysterically funny. And she just, I can talk to her, and she sends me signs. And I've been, of course, I guess I have my own interpretation of the signs too, because she was my best friend. We were like definitely a soul connection. And I understand her still. And that's her connection. And she's come to me, and I also have some EVPs from her, which is electronic voice phenomena, which are truly amazing. I record and I play back, and I don't have to go slow through nothing. I have legitimate answers right from her in her voice back to me. Blows my mind. I just know that we are so connected.
Yeah.
She never leaves me, never.
Yep. So in that sense, it's not that she was your best friend; she still is.
Absolutely.
You're just
Yes.
establishing.
Sorry, Melissa.
A different kind
She
of
made you say
relationship.
that to me.
Well, you know what? I felt like she came into me. I pick up some things once in a while, and the phrase was, "We have an eternal relationship," and that was just before you said she was my best friend.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a reminder to me to remind you that, you still are best friends, and you'll have many more adventures together. I trained a lot over the years, and the indications are that children are usually your soulmates, among your top 25 or so. A lot of this is based on the work by Michael Newton, PhD, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls. So being that your children are primary soulmates, you can't lose them. I mean, you can't get rid of them if you wanted to. You're going to see them again.
My mom passed when I was pregnant with her. My mom passed relatively young. She had Alzheimer's in her 50s, and she passed in her 60s. For 10 years, she was sick. And I feel like Melissa, when she was born a few months later, my mom kind of came back to me through her in a way. I felt like she was the mother sometimes, and I was the kid.
It's possible. So what are 3 things you've learned, Patricia, that you'd like to share with other parents?
Well, the first thing is there are no coincidences. Okay. Don't ever dismiss anything that when you see it and you're like, oh, that's just a coincidence. That's a sign, thank your kid. I mean, because they really want to stay connected with you, and they want you to wake up and realize they are still with you. So that would be one of them. And the other one is we walk around in these meat suits. Okay. That's what they are. They're meat suits, and you're supposed to take care of them. They are our temples. We should take care of our meat suits, but we are spirit, and we are love. And, we need to give that to each other. And it's not all about the outside. It's what's on the inside. And it sounds cliche, but it's not. It's more than that. And we have a purpose. We are here for a reason. And it's not a coincidence. We're here for a reason. And we should try to fulfill that purpose, and we should help each other. We should be of service to each other, and, just smile. I heard Melissa say that to me because she was a big smiler. Smiling's my favorite. The Buddy the Elf thing, it was on her yearbook quote. I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite. So smile at people.
Nice. And you already mentioned it, but your comments, please, on there being a meaning and a timing.
I feel like Melissa didn't have to be here as long as other people. She already knew. She got it. You know, she got it before I did. And she taught my whole family, like it changed everyone in the family because they were just like, you know, she would walk into a room and if there was tension, you know, stupid family things, and she would be like, come on, people, you know, like she just knew how to light up a room, and we all have to know how to light up a room. So I feel that she was here for a reason, to wake us all up. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and she didn't have to be here very long to do it.
No, not at all.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. Awesome. Wendy, you're up next, please.
Hello, everybody.
Tell us about Hugh, his life and passing, please.
Well, my beautiful son Hugh was 20 years old when he passed from fentanyl poisoning. This was in April 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. That was 3.5 years ago. He had been introduced to street Percocets at a fraternity party in college and quickly became addicted. And over the span of 10 months, we did absolutely everything to help him. And we really thought he had turned a corner and things were looking good. And then this happened. You know, I think that when somebody passes from an accidental overdose, there's this fear that that is how they will be remembered. But Hugh was a million other things. You know, he was a firecracker. He was always the energy in the room, and he still is. He was very passionate about playing basketball. He was never without a ball in his hand. He would skateboard in the house. He always had to put the last piece in a puzzle. And you know, he just had such a joie de vivre and was so fun. And the thing that really touched us, though, my family, is that, you know, as parents, we think we know our children better than anybody else knows them, right? We've known them since the day they were born. But then I realized that, you know, my son definitely had a life of his own and had impact on people that I had no idea about, because we had people come out of the woodwork, his peers, you know, dating back to elementary school, with story after story of about how he had so much emotional intelligence that he just knew what a person needed, what a group needed, what a community needed. And he was always, you know, people would tell us these stories that if somebody was being picked on or somebody was alone, he was over there and he was, you know, calling out the bullies, and he was inviting people, you know, into his group and into his life. And we just heard from so many people that he was gifted at building community. And we are so proud of him, and it's no surprise that he led me to this community, because that was obviously very important to him.
Well, that's a great segue to my next question. So how did you discover Helping Parents Heal?
I found it in an online search. I was initially in a grief group that was centered around, well, all of us had a loved one who'd passed from drugs or alcohol. And it, you know, it was a great group and wonderful people. But over time, I felt like I didn't want to be kind of identified by the way my son died. I had gone on a massive spiritual journey, as I think so many of us have, after his passing. And man, I've taken so many courses and attended so many summits, read so many books, and have found tremendous healing through mediumship, just, you know, transformed my grief. And so when I was looking for something different, I came across Helping Parents Heal, and it's like, oh my gosh, what a gift. I don't know if there are any or many other groups out there that really focus on the continued relationship that we have with our children and these spiritual experiences. And that just absolutely spoke to me. And I think I probably initially devoured the video content, starting with the great film Life to Afterlife, which is about the helping parents heal parents. And it's just, man, beautiful group. And yeah, this is where I found my home.
Great, great. Thank you. And so when did you know it was time for you to serve? And tell us about your group, please.
Well, in the affiliate group tab on the website, I certainly found the Seattle group. And I reached out to Beth, who is going to be up after myself, and had a chat with Beth. And the Seattle group had kind of gone quiet. I mean, it was the start of the pandemic, everything changed, hadn't pivoted online yet. And so there really wasn't anything going. And, you know, I was disappointed, but I have, you know, a lot of other supports and things in place. But then it was probably like 9 months later or something, I thought, man, you know, Seattle really needs a group like this. And, you know, just in my little world of, you know, the fentanyl crisis, you know, that's a big problem in Seattle. And of course, there are, you know, every other kind of passing that's tragic. And so I contacted Beth again and asked if she might want help in getting the group going again. And we had coffee, and I love Beth so much. She is such a shining light. And we really felt that together we could get this going again. And so we started it up just again in February and really serve all of Washington State. We're the only group in Washington, but we are an online group and welcome people from anywhere. We have people from all over the US and Canada that join us. We also, you know, have in-person coffee meetups and for those deeper connections. And, you know, just as Patricia said, you know, it supports us as much as it does anyone else who attends, you know, that being in community with other people who know just what your experience is and being able to share openly and talking about the spiritual relationship. It's been great. So we're super excited about the Seattle group and welcome anybody to join us. 4th Wednesday of every month. Great.
And tell us, please, how you've learned to best sense Hugh's presence.
You know, I hear other parents talk about seeing the signs right away after their children passed, and I did not. And I'm pretty sure it's because I'm a very analytical, research-based, tech-based person, and, you know, very much in my head. And I am so grateful that Hugh found a way to get through to me through another person. And he was always an excellent communicator, and he still is. And it was just about a week and a half after he passed. I was sitting on the couch and I got a text from a colleague that I worked with that I didn't know very well. But, you know, she identified herself and she said, "You probably don't know about this about me, but I've had some special psychic gifts since I was born. And when I heard that your son passed, I was flooded with images and messages that I feel compelled to tell you if you're willing to listen." And I thought, hot dang, you bet. So, you know, we got on the phone and she told me some things. And I hadn't thought much about the afterlife, but she told me some things that sounded exactly like what Hugh would say based on the circumstances. And, you know, I left that conversation just thinking, you know, wow, what just happened? And I decided to go to a medium. And I think Hugh planted that idea for me as well. I didn't know anybody who'd been to a medium. I didn't know any mediums. I'd never thought about it. And I had the most life-changing experience that really rocked my world. And so now that I have been opened up, now that I have gone on this journey, I see Hugh's signs all the time. I keep a journal of them. And I was going to tell people one of my favorite things I learned actually in a course from Suzanne Giesman. People have referenced her several times. I don't know if everybody knows her story. She's a high-ranking Navy commander turned worldwide spiritual leader after the passing of her stepdaughter. She's brilliant. I took this course and she taught us a meditation that, oh man, I just love. So I get into a really, you know, deep meditative state. And, I think about Hugh and I will say something like, Hugh, I haven't heard from you for a while. I'm missing you so much. Can you please give me a sign that you can show me in the coming days that you're here, that you hear me, that you see me. And if I'm patient and if I quiet my mind, a word or an image always drops in. It's something random that I would never have thought of. And I've learned to trust it. I write it on a sticky note and I date it and I put it on the back of my computer where I don't see it, I don't think about it. And it is always fulfilled in the most beautiful ways. And my favorite story that I like to tell is that one day when I did that, the word that popped in was Diplo. And I saw it spelled out, capital DIPLO. I thought, what the heck word is that? I mean, how's that going to be fulfilled in my everyday life? But I've learned to trust it. So I wrote it down. And a week later, I was driving down the freeway and I heard a song on the radio that I really liked. And I looked down at the digital readout that tells you the artist in the song. The artist was Diplo, and the song was Don't Forget My Love. And I just pulled over and I cried with joy. So,
Sure. Wow.
whether it be through consciously asking for that, or I just, I feel his presence, and we have some little signs together that we do, but it brings me so much joy and comfort, and I know he's here.
Whew. Well, I'm pretty sure that one's going to be in the book.
It was just incredible. And there's many of them.
So what are 3 things you've learned, Wendy, that you'd like to pass on to other parents?
I know that our children, all of our children, want us to be happy and healthy and to enjoy the life that we have. And I know a few of the other affiliate leaders have talked about that. And I know that at the beginning that seems impossible. But being 3.5 years in, I am filled with gratitude and I am filled with joy. And a lot of it's because, I've just received so much evidence that Hugh is walking that path with me. And I feel deeply committed to living my best life for him because I know he's watching. And he wants that for me, and I want that for myself. And it's very possible. The second thing, I think part of moving forward for me has been changing my relationship with grief. I think initially I saw it as the adversary, that thing that you need to get through. But I've come to realize that it's not the adversary, that grief is the healing. And it's a part of all human experiences. And it's very important to get the support that you need for that. And I now realize that grief and joy can coexist. They're not mutually exclusive. They're both a part of my emotional wheelhouse, like everything else. And yes, I still cry a couple times a week, and I never know when the grief bomb's going to hit. But I also feel truly joyful moments that I know he has led me to. So that's one thing. And then thirdly, just that, the relationship with our children continues and it grows. And, through these signs and, even through mediumship readings, Hugh has given me some excellent advice. And I know that we are together forever. And it's not the relationship I would have hoped for, but it's the relationship I have. And I'm going to do everything I can to nurture that relationship.
Well put. And so what is your belief or knowing, Wendy, about there being a timing and a meaning behind how and when you passed?
Okay, I'm going to be super honest that I've struggled with this one a little bit, because I definitely have come to learn and know that our souls come here to learn and experience certain things, and that we have agreements with the other people in our lives. And I am sure that, Hugh's experience and mine are tied together, but I sometimes have conversations with my soul where I say, thanks a lot. I know you came here to learn these things, but I've got a human mind and a human heart, and my heart is broken. And I kind of say that jokingly, but I am learning to have a relationship with my soul. But there is no question that Hugh's passing, and like you said, Maggie, it's a trigger event. It created this amazing spiritual opening for me, this awakening. And my passion now, with helping parents heal and co-leading the affiliate group, is to support other parents on this journey. I really feel like it's my life's work now. And, that's been a part of this journey that I'm on for sure.
Mm, mm. Amazing spiritual opening. Wow, that's a powerful phrase. I may have to steal that. Thank you very much. Awesome.
Thank you, Mark.
Beth, you are up. And Beth has had 2 children pass. Tell us, wait for Beth to come on. If you speak up, I'll be able to see on my screen.
There we go. Ah,
There we go. Oh my gosh.
hello.
So tell us about Stephen and Aaron, please, their lives and passing.
So my story starts in 1997, when then my brilliant son, Stephen, was 5 years old. He was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of pediatric cancer. At that time, my daughter, Erin, was 2 years older, and we had just had a baby boy, Grant. Stephen went through treatment for 2.5 years, and he lost his battle. We weren't alone. We had family and community. We lived in Chicago at the time. It was just, we gave it our all. He had the best treatment, and it was just us. It was a family, and we just continued to move forward. Several years after Stephen passed, we ended up moving to the Seattle area. Grant, my baby, was going to start 1st grade, and Erin was starting high school. She struggled with her mental health. She never could get over the loss of her brother. She didn't know how to. She sometimes asked for help, but she really didn't want help. She could do it on her own. She went away to college. She wanted to be a social worker to help kids like herself. She had a breakup with a boyfriend, and she died by suicide. She took her life. She was just lonely.
Yep.
And
what year was that?
2011.
11. Okay.
I'm
Oh boy.
Again.
Yeah.
So after her loss, I was lost. Are you there? Hello. Jim.
We can see you now,
Oh,
Beth.
okay. I'm sorry.
Popped off
okay.
and then you're on
I
again.
No worry at all.
Yeah, so she just struggled with the loss of Stephen and just didn't know how to go
Sure.
about things.
Sure. And by the way, we understand when people of any age can decide they're just in too much pain. Certainly the light, angels, guides, and so on do as well. So article number 4, I wrote when a loved one passes by suicide. So if anyone's worried about the consequences, for their soul, please let that go, because those kinds of teachings arose in the Dark Ages, and that's where they should stay.
I
So
agree.
tell us, how did you find out about helping parents heal, and how they help you at first?
So shortly after Erin passed, I pretty much stayed in the house, didn't do much of anything. my goals. And then I started to have small goals like wearing real pants. Just living again. My husband was sending me places. He'd send me to visit my sister and my mother just to get me out. He sent me to see a medium that was Tina Powers, who's in Tucson, I believe. And I had a reading and she was amazing. And I can look back on that reading and she had a lot of things, but I only wanted to hear from my kids. And I didn't. I was an emotional wreck and we finished the reading and we started chatting. And she told me about helping parents heal. She said, Elizabeth had just started this group and Mark Ireland, and she told me all about them. So then I just started, researching it and joined Helping Parents Heal, went for a walk with Elizabeth.
Nice.
And I was just impressed and amazed.
Yeah. She's one of my favorite people. And oh my God, we just sit around and laugh for hours. So, how did you know it was time for you to start serving others? And tell us about your group, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I need to be with people. I had the support in Chicago, a family and friends. And when Aaron died by suicide, the people I knew just weren't sympathetic or empathetic. They were just kind of dumped me. I was kind of alone. And I need people, and I need people that understand kind of what I'm going through. So I decided to start the group.
Wow, great. Okay, and what do you consider your group's strengths to be?
Wendy. Wendy really turned things around. We were meeting in my house. Yeah, I'd have the meetings and I would, bake something and get the house ready. And, 8 people told me they were coming and 3 people showed up and then nobody showed up. And I just kind of I got frustrated. I would be like at home on the Tuesday night ready and, to share my heart and to, I got books and a library and people weren't coming. So just slowly the group faded out. And then Wendy found me and we started the Zoom, and I really get a lot out of just hugging other parents, listening to them.
Great. If at first you don't succeed. So what have you learned over the years about how you can best sense Stephen and Aaron?
I need to learn to quiet my mind. I know I need to be accepting, and I move too fast through the world. So I really need to stop and see and just really feel everything. I know they're still right here.
Yeah, so when you do that, does that help? You're able to perceive them more?
I've learned to appreciate when I see the butterflies fluttering around and there's 2 of them. I just stop in my tracks and I allow myself to take it in and feel it.
Yeah. Well, their eyes are incredible. Said the eyes are the window to the soul. We're talking about 2 advanced souls. Yes. I can almost not look at you because I keep looking at their eyes. Wow, powerful. So what are 3 things you've learned, Beth, that you'd like to share with others?
You still have a relationship with your kids. Stephen was my buddy. We spent a lot of time together while he was sick. So we were connected on a level that I don't think I've ever had with anybody else. Aaron was a typical teenager. I was the mom, she was the daughter. We didn't always see eye to eye. She let me know it. but I still have a relationship with her. And when she first passed, we were still fighting a lot. And now through the years, our relationship is wonderful. Like I talk with her all the time and much softer and kinder with each other. And that can happen when you can keep on moving.
Sure. Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think good for now. Thank you.
Okay. It's amazing, by the way, how many parents have said something similar. They're actually closer with their children now in some meaningful ways than they were when the kids were on Earth. So how about your beliefs or knowing about there being a timing and a meaning to even something like this?
With Stephen's illness, we met lots of families that were in similar situations. Started a nonprofit, which I know I wouldn't have never done. I have a best friend whose son is now 27 years old, who was also very sick at the same time as Stephen. I wouldn't have those relationships. So I think the meaning of his death was for me to grow and do the awareness of pediatric cancer and meet those special people. Aaron's death, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Thank you for your honesty on that. By the way, I wrote a really long article, and people like Suzanne Giesman and others weighed in. Probably the most difficult article I've ever written, and that's article number 25 at soulproof.com about pre-birth planning, and also create an audio program where people can get deeply relaxed, turn down the brain, and get in touch with their inner knowing about, did I indeed pre-plan the possibility of this? And if so, why in God's name? You know, what were the intended goals? What was the thinking? And if anyone, it's only $15, but if anyone watching can't afford that, just email me, mark@soulproof.com, and I'll send you a free digital copy. And that way you can have this experience and explore more about it. Well, thank you very much, Beth.
Thank you.
Awesome, so powerful. And to all the parents who shared with us tonight, incredible. As always, I walk away with this feeling so full, so appreciative of your caring, your wisdom, your love. Lynn, any final words you'd like to share?
Just another amazing night of these wonderful moms. Thank you all for sharing your stories and your children with us. And thanks for all you do for helping parents heal. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
And we appreciate you too, Mark, for doing all these interviews.
I get more out of it than anybody, I think. So make sure you watch these interviews again, take notes, put to use. We've shared different resources. We're here. We have so many ways we can help with helping parents heal. Let us know, reach out, ask. We're glad to help. God bless you all. Good night.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mark and Lynn. We appreciate you too.
Thank you.
Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.